So Jivey here, coming at you with Rage Gaming. Today I'm just going to be going over basically a review of hand cannons. I'm showing you a picture of each one that's been screenshotted. I'm basically going to be doing like a series type of thing where I'm going to be doing 5 weapons that are same type against each other and go through PvE and PvP and kind of score them and tell you what I personally feel was the best and the worst for each situation. But basically I have a scoring system for PvE. They were just scored on if they were excellent, good, or okay, and I just gave them a rating of 1 out of 5 for public events and for ads. I did not do lost sectors or quests or patrols, so this is purely on public events or the ads, which means that it could slightly differ depending on if you're doing a lost sector with a lot more enemies and a small amount of space or something like that, but basically that's what I did for that. And then for the PvP, I went and scored it out of, I did 2 rounds per gun of the Iron Banner, and I kind of just averaged out the kills as well as the kill death ratio and used those to kind of score the PvE section, as well as I included the stats of range and impact, stability, stuff like that, because the more those bars are filled out, the better the gun performs, especially for hand cannons. So I included those as well. What I did is basically, if it looked like it was 90% full, then I gave it a 9 for that bar. And what I did was add up the kill death ratio, the kills, and the stats together, and then averaged them out and got the score for that for my PvP. But basically that's what I did for scoring them. And I'm just gonna give you like, I'm not telling you have to use these guns, but I'm basically showing you what I felt was the best and the worst, because I am doing a cleaning out my vault type of process for the expansion 1. So, and I have a lot of weapons, and I'm so afraid I'm going to delete something. I was a major hand cannon person in Destiny 1, but like I said before in one of my previous videos, the hand cannons are not as good as they were in Destiny 1. That's just my opinion. No one else has to believe that. But I personally don't feel they're as good. Like, I would only run with hand cannons. I can't do that now. I use a lot of other guns. But basically the gun that I've always had on my character is Better Devil since I got it. And that's always been my hunter. I do use it on occasion, but it's definitely not used all the time. The first one I want to talk about is the Annual Skate. Now this one is kind of a shocker for me because I kind of overlooked it. Like I said, I have been running Better Devils for most of the part of the game so far. And I was kind of shocked when I used this one for the first time. I was like, oh my god, why has this been in my vault all this time? It has a very unique sound to it, and it definitely scored very good for me. For PvE, it scored a 4.5. It was really good with public events and with ads. Basically, it shot like a normal hand cannon. There was nothing like obvious that I had a problem with. It's definitely very good with range for hand cannons. Most hand cannons have very low range and you have to be very close, which is kind of a bummer for using a hand cannon. But overall it did perform pretty well for PvE. The next one I want to talk about for PvE is Better Devils. That one scored just as good. It has like a bit of a smoother sound to it, and I don't know, it just kind of shoots smoother in general. But like I said, it did score the same, so it performed just as good as I was expecting it to perform. That may be that I've already used it before, so like I said, I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible, but I have used Better Devils quite a lot. The next one that I wanted to talk about was Dire Promise. Now this is the Dead Orbit hand cannon. I have to say I am not very pleased with it. It is definitely not one of the better hand cannons in this game. It did score number 3 out of 5 on my PvE, but it was definitely, like, I don't know, I just really don't see myself being able to use it. It's most likely going to end up in my next video for hand cannons, the part 2 of this, where I incorporate the rest of my hand cannons, just because I don't know if I have enough hand cannons to make it 5 each time, and I definitely wanted to have a balanced out scoring against other weapons. So I'm taking basically the top ones off the list and incorporating them in my next video with the ones that I already have that are still need to be done. Like I do know for sure I have Old Fashioned that still needs to be done. But like I said, like this was just not a good hand cannon, which was kind of sad for me because I grinded really bad to get this gun, and because I wanted to make sure I had all the dead orbit guns just to review them for you. And this is just not a good gun. I mean, like I said, I did score number 3 for PvE, but that's definitely like a computerized. It's not the same as if you're fighting a person. So I did a little better than I was expecting when I first used it, but it did get a 4 out of 5, which is only 0.5 below Better Devils and Annual Skate. The next one I wanted to talk about was True Prophecy. Now this is a Future War Cult hand cannon. I got this the first time we had Faction Wars, and I got it on my Titan. So I played with this one, I would say a lot, but not as much as Better Devils. And this one was actually pretty good too. It has a very unique, smooth noise to it, like kind of like, I don't know, like I'm very big on listening to the actual noise. But for overall, for PvE circumstances, for the public events, and the ads that are in the patrol areas, it did score a 3.5. I was honestly expecting it to score a lot better, but compared to the other guns, it just wasn't as good for a PvE standpoint. And so that puts it number 4 on the list. The last one is Bad News, and I have to say it was horrible. I could not use it at all. This might just be me in general, but it shoots really like loud, and I mean, I know the loudness has nothing to do with the actual shooting in the game, but it kind of like, I don't know, it's like acts like it's powerful, but it's not. Like, it definitely wasn't like a smoother hand cannon, and it shot so slow. Like, it's kind of like what you would expect a hand cannon to be, and I don't know, it's just, it was horrible. It was definitely not a good weapon to use for PvE. Like I said, like it shot really slow, and it was taking way too many shots to kill ads. Like, if I'm going to use a hand cannon, I expect it to be like a 1-2 shot, and with this one, it was like taking 2, 3, 4. Like, it was just not really good. So that definitely scored. They got a 0. Like, I didn't even give it a 1. Like, that's how bad this was. It was just a 0. It was 100%. I didn't even write excellent, good, or anything like that. I just wrote no. Like, this, no, I will not use this for PvE. And like I said, this is just my opinion, so maybe you are more experienced with using Bad News and you enjoy using it or know how to use it. I just personally, I can't use it. It's not a good gun. And it's kind of sad for me because I've kept this for a while in my vault, thinking that I would be able to use it, and figuring, like, you know, I get killed by this in the Crucible a lot. It's got to be a decent gun, and it was just, it was very disappointing to use. It was definitely not something that I enjoyed using at all. The next thing we're going to go over is the PvP part of this. And like I said, I did play the Iron Banner, so I don't really know if that makes a difference because it is not Crucible. I am a pretty decent player. I wouldn't say I'm the best, but sometimes I do carry my team, and sometimes I'm like in the middle. I'm very rarely on the bottom, so I'm definitely like about average for a player. So like I said before, in the PvE part, this is basically just on my skills and what I feel I could use, and maybe give you a little insight to if you are similar to the skill level that I have. But basically, the one that scored the highest was the Annual Skate, which was kind of surprising for me. I definitely did not get the most kills with this game, but I definitely had a better kill-death ratio, and the stats on it were a lot better, which kind of influenced and raised it a little bit on how much points it got towards the PvP section. If you know any better way to score this, I would definitely like to know. But the second, it got a 4, or got a 5.11 for the average out of everything that for the PvP section. The next one was Better Devils. This one I definitely got the most amount of kills with, but my kill death ratio was definitely very low, which is kind of surprising. But and I did win most of these matches. Like, it wasn't that I was always losing or we were getting slammed. Like, some of them we won, some of them we lost. It was pretty much about even. And that's why I did the average, is because you never know what's going to happen in the game. It's not about just you, it's about the other people you're playing against and their skill level. So that's why I did the average out of 2 rounds. And like I said, Better Devils scored a 4.89, which puts it a little bit below the Annual Skate. The next one was True Prophecy, and it scored a 4.83. Now this gun was pretty close to what Better Devils was, although I do prefer to use Better Devils. I don't know if it's just a smoother mechanic or something, or it's just in my mind I think it shoots better. but they were pretty close. Like there really wasn't much difference other than the noise it makes when it shoots. The next one I had was Dire Promise. Now this one was horrible in Crucible because, or in the Iron Banner, and it's not that, I don't know, it's just like it shot way too fast and the stability wasn't high enough for how fast it shoots. So I mean, like, I don't know, like it was just like a little pistol going off, and I mean if the stats were a little bit higher, or if I knew how to counter it, it might be a really good gun for Crucible, but I personally couldn't keep it corrected for the 2 matches that I did. And like I said, this is not like a long term of playing with these guns. I am trying to empty my vault out. So if I can't get it right away, then it's most likely a gun that I'm not going to use in general. So this one did very poorly for me. Like I definitely noticed it shoots very fast. It did have the highest RPMs, but like I said, it was definitely very low in general. I did take into account too the magazine, and the one with the highest magazine was Better Devils, so that definitely scored pretty good for that. Excuse me, I just hit my mic. But yeah, anyways, that got a 4.28, and the last one was Bad News, and that scored a 4.17, and it was just, it fired too slow, and it was just, I don't know, it just was not a good gun. It didn't have enough rounds for the amount of ammo it took to kill something, and it was firing so slow, people could kill me before I had the chance to kill them. It was, I don't know, it just definitely was not competing very fairly. So that one was definitely the lowest, and out of all of them, this Bad News is going to be the one that I am going to be deleting. I am going to keep the others until I know how many hand cannons I have, but like I said, I'm going to take the top guns first and add them to the next series, part 2 of the hand cannons, and then just go from there to make my 5 to go against. So but yeah, anyways, the one that came in first was Annual Skate, and the one that came in last was Bad News. Second place was Better Devils, and then third place was a toss-up of True Prophecy and Dire Promise. Other than that, that's all I have for you. See you later.